welcome to be a great opportunity to be back here. Welcome to the KMTV Morning Show after this long break. You know, the weekend started on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and on Monday we have to celebrate the first president of Liberia's birthday. It's an opportunity to be back. Welcome. My name is Amos Thomas Momo on today's presentation of the KMTV Morning Show. Lots of things to talk about, but trust me, we won't be talking politics today. We'll be diving into the historicity of Liberia. We're talking about the Providence Baptist Church. As you are aware, the anniversary, the 200th anniversary of the church is ongoing. And we'll also be diving into the historical symposium that will kick off on Saturday. So wherever you are, thanks so much for joining us. And this is your universal platform, the KMTV Morning Show. Basically, today we'll be playing host to two distinct personalities from the Providence Baptist Church. They'll be telling us some of the history of the church. We'll be talking about the anniversary, the 200th anniversary celebration that is ongoing. And later on, we'll dive into the historical symposium. There will be poems recited here by some individuals. That will not be live though. We'll also be telling you, giving you the names of some of those presenters on Saturday. Though they are not in Liberia, but some of them are Liberians. And other issues will be discussed here as we go about the discussion. Welcome, wherever you are, please share this live podcast and visit our YouTube channel and Facebook, KMTV Liberia. It is great to have you all joining us this morning from Liberia, and it's an opportunity. The two individuals will join us, like I told you, and it's going to be a very, very fascinating discussion. I told you we won't be talking politics today. We'll dive into the historicity of Liberia and the Providence Baptist Church. I want to say thanks so much for joining and welcome to KMTV.
You're welcome. Thank you
Thank
for
you
having us.
for having us.
How's life going on? Firstly, what's your name and from where you come?
All right. Reverend Aaron S. Lloyd III, a minister of the gospel at Providence Baptist Church. At present, I serve the church as the director of men and youth.
Okay.
My responsibility basically is to nurture youth and supervise men in what we do there at church, promoting whatever Providence stands for.
Okay. How's life going on?
Life has been as it is, all good, generally, ups and downs, as life really is. There has to be some ups and downs, but by the grace of God, we are great.
Thank you for coming.
God bless you.
And you too?
Isatta J. Kianu. I'm a member of the music ministry, a minister of the gospel to music and the youth ministry, where Reverend Lloyd is the director.
So you'll be singing for us today?
No, I won't.
Okay, so you listen to them. They're from the Providence Baptist Church. Lots of things you will learn today, and it's great to have them joining us on today's presentation. Word of politics, education is right here for you. And let's talk about the anniversary that is ongoing. How is it going on?
Our anniversary is great. It's really, really great. We started the entire anniversary with a 3-day fast and prayer at Providence, all right? And it was an amazing time, all right? We commune with God, as we say. That was followed by our official opening on the 14th of February, all right? And that program was also a great one. You know, our pastor is such a dynamic one. He has invited ministers from all over the country, all right? Every denomination. So every Sunday through our anniversary, we've had 3 ministers of the gospel preaching every Sunday at the church. So imagine we have Pentecostals, Episcopalians, we have the Orthodox Baptist churches, just every denomination in the country. He's invited them, and as they come, they deliver the message without compromise, all right? It's just been a wonderful time. We had also during our anniversary, we had one particular event for the young people where we had them to do what we call the spoken word. Young people want to express what they see, what they think, and what they feel. But we have not been doing well as Liberians, you know, giving the young people the platform that they need to say what they want to say. And so we started that at Providence, and it was just marvelous. It was amazing. Young people expressed what they felt, and those that attended can testify. All right, that yes, that was an amazing program. We also had a day of celebration at the beach with hosted by the men. That was for all church members, but hosted by the men of Providence Baptist Church, and that was also a super one. I mean, it's just good. The anniversary, the planners did excellent planning, and we've just been having a good time. We have a whole lot of souvenirs for the program, for the anniversary that we are going through. We have a whole year of celebration. All right, January to December, and we've divided it into quarters. All right, so our first quarter is when we started, like I said, February to the end of March. On the 28th of March will be our closing Thanksgiving service for the first quarter. All right, and it is at that program that we will do our real celebration. We are supposed to hold that celebration at the Centennial Pavilion. All right, we have invited all churches, like I've said before. We'll be inviting only the preachers, but at that service we're going to invite all churches, whatever denomination. For that reason, the service will start at 1 p.m. All right, so we want other churches to go and have their services, the regular services at the church,
Then after
and then
from part of the program.
come from part
Let's
of that
particularly look
service.
at the youthful part
The
of
youth.
the anniversary.
Okay.
How is it going? What are some of those things they're learning?
Okay, youth are number one. The youth are learning to get exposed, get involved in what we do as a church and as a nation. All right, we're trying to get them to be involved. Now, if you know Liberians the way I know Liberians, we are Liberians, and we know the young people kind of, because of us, the older ones, the young people have been relegated. You always think, okay, you can't do this, you're not supposed to do that, you moving too fast, you getting into things you're not supposed to be into, and I think that has, so this program, this particular celebration, as far as the youth is concerned, we're trying to lift the spirit, encourage them to get involved. All right, so for that reason, we have every quarter, the event I talk about, the spoken word event, every quarter of our celebration will have a special program like that for them. Only them expressing how they feel. And guess what? They're not only learning, they are expressing, and because they are expressing, we are also learning, so that we will learn to deal with the issues they have and deal with the issues that we have for some time been overlooking. All right, so we really are targeting the youth to get exposed. We are targeting them to learn our history. Liberian history is so important.
Sure.
All right, so that's our.
Isatta will come in with her own experience as the anniversary is ongoing. But basically, I want to know a little bit about the Providence Baptist Church.
Providence Baptist Church. We usually refer to ourselves as the cornerstone of the nation.
Sure.
All right, and Providence is the cornerstone of the nation because it is at Providence that Liberia was birthed. Providence is the mother of our country. All right. Someone asked me one, how is it that the church is older than the country? And I said, because mothers are older than children. All right. So Providence is the cornerstone of Liberia because you see, Providence was founded 1821.
Yeah.
Liberia got her independence in 1847.
Sure.
See how many years in between. Providence is that church that was founded to bring Christianity to Liberia, Africa. Is that church that was founded so that Liberians will be able to, we say in our own way, in our theological setting, boldly enter the throne of grace, boldly come before God. Now, it was at Providence that we signed our Declaration of Independence. It was as Providence served as our first capital building.
Sure.
All right, and we our legislators met there to decide on how Liberia will move forward after signing the Declaration of Independence. So moving forward for this country was there again in Providence. Not only that, Providence has been working to promote what Liberia really is. I mean, if you look at the things that we do now, you see that the country at the beginning depended on what we were doing as the church. There, sometime in the future, something changed. But Providence has modeled Liberia, what Liberia should really be. So Providence is a cornerstone of this nation because we birthed the nation, we supported and provided space for our first decision making. All right, so
I think I have learned a little bit because normally Mother Miata would say to me, Amos, Providence Baptist Church is the cornerstone of the nation. I'll be like,
how?
she will always say to me, Amos, the Providence Baptist Church is the cornerstone of the nation. The Providence Baptist Church is the church that brought about politics. I said, oh. So it was so surprising to me. But let's get to Isatta. So she, shared with us her own experience as the anniversary is ongoing. How is it with you?
I mean, it's been a wonderful time since we entered our 200th anniversary as a church. It's really been a wonderful time. As he said, we started off with a fast and prayer. From there, we went to our spoken word. We had a street jamboree where we paraded the streets, the main streets of Monrovia, and we had a wonderful time, especially us, the youths. We even drove the older women and men to dancing because that day was a wonderful day. The day started off with rain, and everybody was to be disappointed, but I mean, everybody got into the day, and we further up, ended it up Ashman Streets where we had people who have their markets here, Liberians own made products. They were there, they were selling their products, and that day was great. I mean, the products were so many. I did not expect people to buy as compared to what happened that day. Like everybody who had their product there made some kind of money. And from there, we've had just series of programs. As you said, this is the first quarter of our 200th anniversary. And we're going on and on and on. And every Sunday, we just have amazing preachers from all denominations in this nation.
What brought about the idea of bringing, preachers from other churches? It's not a normal thing in our country.
Not at all.
Yeah,
What brought about that?
We like I said, our pastor is a visionary.
Okay.
But
And I
besides that,
think that's how it should be.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we all serve the same God.
Exactly.
And there's
Exactly.
nothing different.
You see, the church is not a denomination.
Okay.
All right, I'm talking about the church general. It's not a denomination. And our pastor have seen that he's caught that on. He knows that the church, you see, we are one body in Christ. So maybe the Baptists know how to study the word and teach the word. Well, the Pentecostal knows how to pray and fast and get the Spirit to work.
Sure.
All right. The Episcopalian will know how to put things in order, systematic. The Methodists will know all the methodology of the church, and all of them have to be a part to be the church. All right. So I believe that the church had to come together. All right. At this point in time, remember this is 200, and I said to somebody, 200 ends over 0. We have to zero in on what the church is, and then start at 1. 201 next year.
All right. We have this team from the Providence Baptist Church. The 200th anniversary is ongoing, and the symposium is expected to kick off on Saturday. There are lots of things we are learning and talking about here as the show goes on. But at this point, we will now take a poem from Colwyn C. Williams. Hope I'm getting his name right. And it's a very, very historical, poem. I'm hoping you will have a great time. When we come back, we'll dive into the symposium so you know exactly what the symposium is all about.
My name is Colwyn C. Williams, and the piece that I'll be saying today is entitled The Liberia I Know. This piece was inspired by how our forefathers came from all walks of life and settled on our land that we call Liberia today, and how our founder of Providence Baptist Church, Lord Carey, sailed across the Atlantic Ocean with other families and decided to build a church, which is now known as the Providence Baptist Church, the cornerstone of the nation. Here goes. Ask me. Ask me, and I'll begin to express the anger that fills my heart each time I hear the failures of this society. But ask me about the Liberia I know, and I'll boast about it wholeheartedly. Hold on. Let me take you back in time to our beautiful history. Let me fill your ears with the echoes of our forefathers' victories and the melodies of Liberia that will be nothing without Providence. Just a 10-letter word that hails our excellence, a word that describes how it started but not how it ends. I could go on and on just bragging about them. Ask me, and I'll tell you how our forefathers rose up from the Holy Lands, traveled from the Kalahari and through the Sahel desert sands. Their feet were scorched by the heat during the day, and at night they'll find a place for their heads to lay. But at last, they settled on our land that we call home today. Long after our people were free from captivity, they set sail on the tides of the Atlantic for a place they could continue to live in peace and unity. Ask me. Ask me, and I'll tell you that I am a descendant of a slave, a descendant of people that were beaten, bruised, and slain, cut off from civilization and left to collect what was left of a favored race. Ask me. Ask me about Providence, and I'll tell you to listen to that beat. The beat of our founders' feet, like a smooth rhythm over a tight beat. Listen to the thudding of the blocks they beat as they built the sacred home where today we worship and meet. Ooh, a beat so strong yet so sweet. And if someone happens to ask me, what does Providence sound like? I'll smile, take a deep breath, and pause, right? Then, like a fire, I'll ignite with a smile so bright, I'll tell you that Providence sounds a lot like Lord Carey, our founding father and visionary. Providence sounds like that organist playing from his never-ending song list. Providence sounds like the worship of Providence congregation, the same worship that fills the air like an invasion. 200 years in coming, and now I ask, are we still seen as the cornerstone of the nation? Or just the oldest building in the nation? Because I don't know what to think anymore. We've been through pandemics and wars. What more do we need from the Lord if He is giving you the breath to speak another word? 199 years towards freedom. 199 years towards His grace. 199 years as a Christian legion. 199 years towards the race. But I know the only race that we'll embrace is across the bridge of love for His name's sake. 200 years. There is no time to waste. Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. What a great way to say good morning and welcome to the KMTV Morning Show. You listen to Colwyn C. Williams, a very smart kid. You know, if you keenly listen to what he just said, that poem is actually, educating. Is a very, very, uh, well constructed poem. And I'm hoping that all of those individuals that are following this show can be able to share with their friend and tell their friend, about what's going on in our country, and most especially how the Providence Baptist Church turned to be the cornerstone of Liberia. Now let's look at this symposium. What brought about firstly the symposium?
All right, whenever we talk Liberia,
Mhm.
we talk Providence.
Okay.
As far as history is concerned,
Mhm.
the history of Liberia is tied in with the history of Providence Baptist Church. And Providence celebrates 200 years. All right, so if we will celebrate 200 years, it's like Liberia celebrates 200 years of Christianity here in Liberia now.
Mm-hmm.
We can celebrate 200 years without going back to our history. All right, so we have gone to history so that we will understand what is now and what will take us to the future.
Okay.
All right, as a church and a nation.
And when the symposium is expected to kick off?
We supposed to do this particular symposium on Saturday. That will be the 20th of March.
Is it a day?
March, yes, it's like a whole day. In Liberia, if you got anything planned for 5 hours, that's a day, because our traffic will take us a few hours to and fro, so we call it a day from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. is the actual time of the symposium on the 20th of March. Yeah.
And I think the symposium is a bit different because you will have presenters from out of Liberia presenting, though they will be almost like, is it the same, like you'll be inviting the same churches to kind of form part of it?
Yes, we are inviting churches, we are inviting high schools and universities. We are targeting young people from every spheres in our country, all right? We are inviting people from government institutions, we're inviting people from the business sector, just everywhere. We want us, especially the young people, the youth, to know what Liberia, where we came from, for us to get to where we are. In fact, the symposium is being planned under the guidance of Minister of the Gospel, but by young people.
Okay.
So the planning and implementation is by young people. Our speakers are Liberians and other nationals, but nationals that have studied
Liberian
and researched and studied Liberian history.
Okay.
We have Dr. C. Patrick Burrows. He's the author of this book. All right, it's called Between the Cola Forest and the Salty Sea.
Okay.
You see him. He went as far back as 1365. So we're looking at Liberia before even the pioneers, because the pioneers thing we call it our recent history. Already 1800s, when people started to come, going beyond people like people the Central and those kind of things, going beyond them. Before Liberia was as a nation, as a republic, as Liberia we know it to be, there were people here. There were, I would call them Liberians. They didn't bear that name before, but there were Liberians here. What were they doing? How did they live? How was the trade? Like, did they do trade at all? All right. In this book, Dr. Burrows spelled out the fact that some Westerners classify us into two groups: gatherers and hunters. They didn't think we have the ability to farm.
I think you were part of the class.
Exactly.
With Dr. Burrows. But now we'll jump into that.
Okay.
Let's now get the word from the Reverend Eric Washington, who is one of the presenters
All right.
at the symposium.
Right. He's the next one.
Hello, everybody. I am Eric Michael Washington. I am Associate Professor of History at Calvin University in Grand Rapids, Michigan, United States of America. At Calvin, I specialize in teaching African and African diaspora history, as well as interdisciplinary courses that deal with issues of race and gender. I have a love for good literary fiction written by African and diasporan African novelists and writers. But for this particular occasion, the symposium, I have been very active in scholarship on Lot Carey and really the beginnings of Liberia as a colony of the American Colonization Society. So looking forward to one.
He's Professor Eric Washington, one of the presenters for the symposium on Saturday, and he's a member of the Providence Baptist Church. Now let's go to Isatta. So she shared us her own time in class with the Reverend Burrows. How was it like? And what are some of those things you can tell us about?
Whoa, that 1 month, some weeks was one of the best moments or period of time that I've lived. I mean, I have not been a lover of history, not at all.
Okay.
I was in high school, I only studied history just to pass the course and to pass the subject and move on because I wasn't allowed to fail in any subject anyway. But since I decided, I accepted the invitation to be a part of that class, it has been an amazing time. We've been talking about our history from as far back as 1365. You can imagine what all we've been talking about. We've talked about how Liberians were here during those times, during the times that people cannot imagine that people lived on this soil called Liberia.
Okay.
We talked about how civilization began in Africa, where we only, us Liberians, we think that nothing good has come from Africa, from Liberia especially. We just think that everything that we have, everything that we've learned, we learned them from Europeans and Westerners. But that's not true. This book, as a matter of fact, that book, it took 35 years for the author to research and get that book together.
Okay.
It took him a lifetime to make the decision. As he said, he was born during the 1950s and he grew up on Bushra Island. He was born to Jamaican parents, so you can imagine. He's a Liberian by birth,
Sure.
but his parents they are not from here. So he said he started loving history based on his setting, how he lived back then with people from West Point and this place. The whole place was just forest. So he began to create interest in history, and it took him a lifetime to get this book together. We also learned about how our people lived before. So we have this saying that you should be a good listener. You shouldn't be fast to talk.
Fine.
That thing, it started far back.
Okay.
This book revealed that to us. It said that there were sculptures, we call them sculptures. There were stones during the research to get this book together that people found along the course of the borders between Liberia and Sierra Leone. One of those sculptures were made in a female form. It has a mouth, which is small. That small mouth tells women to be slow to talk.
Okay.
Take your own time to talk, that you're not supposed to talk in everything. So, and then it has a wider ears, that you should be a good listener. A good listener, you be slow to talk, and then it has a eyes that was almost closed, which tells you that not everything you see you have to talk about.
Okay.
And so this book has it revealed to us a lot of things that none of us could imagine. Like we talked about how Africans were the first to use stones, iron. We use iron to buy and sell. We use it for money. Other people use it to make things. Like they weren't taught it.
Okay.
The thoughts, God gave it to them. God gave them those thoughts. They did not learn it from Europeans. They started to do things. They sell that salt, as he said, between the cola forest and the salty sea. Salt and cola were the first important things that us Liberians made to import,
Okay.
to export out of this country, to sell to other countries. The people did not know about salt. How did we make salt? They made salt from the sea, as we all know. I think one way or the other you have heard. That was made by the Golas, the people we call Gola people now today. And that was along the Atlantic Ocean. The book says that we have a group called the Atlantic people. Those were the Gola, the Dey, the Kisi, and people like that. Those were one of the main people who occupied the land before others came, that we now have Cape Mount, Grand Basso people in that. There's just more to history. And this book has encouraged us to go through this time of having a symposium because we want to share with our country, youth of this nation, to get interested in knowing our history. Because I think, and all of us think, that it will help us to know where we've come from, why we are where we are, and where we ought to go. That's
Until Saturday, I'm already interested. Now, I want to know, because looking at the relationship, the book also spoke about the relationship of our neighboring countries. How is it?
Yeah.
How it came about?
All right. We if you go through this book, and especially through the class, you see where Liberians came from our migration routes. All right, we all came from. I don't want to go way back, but at least the nearest place from Mali, somewhere in the Sahara there, and we start to split up first, and then we came through Sierra Leone along the coast. We came through Guinea. From directly up, we came through Nigeria, and then on to most people in the southeast side there. So we came from all around, but you will see that our neighbors, Ivory Coast, Guinea, Sierra Leone, are all our roots now. Doesn't mean that we just walk through there. So people migrated from time to time as it came on. We're talking thousands of years. All right, people migrated time to time and came on. So you see, Liberians, we have relatives in Guinea. Liberians have relatives in Sierra Leone. Liberians have relatives in Ivory Coast. So we came along that way, and that's how we are connected to our people around. Okay.
So how they thought about, establishing and managing the different tribal and traditional society?
All right. So here we are as a people, and that has been my interest. All right. Let me say this. I'm a descendant of those Negroes that came, people that came here and settled as Spaniards, quote unquote. And for some reason, I have just not been satisfied just knowing our history from 1822 or 1821 or in the 1800s. Were there not people here before? Yes, there were people here. All right. All of those chiefs that were named in what the book we used to study, Heroes and Heroines of Liberia, Liberia before 1847. There were chiefs that were named. So if there were chiefs, then there were settlements. If there were settlements, then there were people, there were clients. All right, there were clients in different places, and so they had their own culture. These are the things that I really want to encourage our young people to come and learn. All right, there were settlements, there were clients in those settlements, there were tribes, and there were families. Now, how each of them ran, their culture, the system, you get to realize that it was so unique. How does one person become a Liberian? You'll be shocked. All right? You somebody, I'm a Gribble man, you'll be surprised to see a Gribble man living way in the deep forest of Lofa and accepted there as a person from there. All right? Simply because in Liberia, the system we have here is you come to a place, the way you present yourself, what you do for that setting in that community, you are accepted as a part of that community. You know, they whenever we got foreign guests and we have this ceremony and we gown you and all that, it came from that. You come and you do something significant, we accept you as a part of us. All right. So all of these kind of systems were there. So we were here before that time, and seriously, that's my interest. I think I have not even learned enough yet about that, and I'm looking forward to this time.
Okay. Now, Isatta, let's talk about how those society impacted or affected the lives of individuals who are part of the family.
Whoa. The book has been researched. As we said, the book was written based on history, oral, and facts. As I told you, they were researching, looking for different. I mean, they were looking for different things. The both said people went looking for gold, but then they found these things that told them that there were people living on this land. And so those societies that we learned about as poorer and Sunday societies, they came from as far back as the time we're talking about 1300s. So people, they had the girls' society and the boys' society. But I was mostly interested in the girls' society. So those societies were formed so as to teach morals to young ones as they grew up. As I rightly explained what the sculpture was about, that thing was what one of the girls wore, someone that was already a part of the society when there was time for initiation, for a different group of girls to go over. So they were taught morals, like the things that our people still taught us. you have to be a lady. Like the people were not just living loosely. They knew, I mean, they were educated as per their own way. God made them the way he wanted them to be, and they were educated as per that side. So they taught their girls how to be housewives, how to be women in society, how to comport yourself. They even taught them how to cook.
Okay.
And that was just amazing to know that all of the things that we're doing now, they've been here before we thought about it. They've been here, and so that's just the reason why those societies were formed, to teach morals to young ones as they grew up, so that the society could not just be everybody doing their own thing.
Okay.
You
Can
know,
we listen to the men's side of it?
yeah, you know, just before I get into that part, you know, it is so saddening that when the Europeans came, they saw these our systems. I will call them. I don't want to call them just little society. These are our systems, and demonized them and made it look so negative. All right, you go through this book by Dr. Burroughs, you see that the people in the West, they do what they do there, they call it magic.
Okay.
But in Africa, you do the same thing, they call it witch.
Yeah.
All right? They demonize it. We have the leader of the societies, our school system, them. They see these people and call them witches and wizards. All right? Over there, they call them magicians.
Yeah.
All right? So they try to demonize it. They call our head teacher, for lack of word, the devil. You get country devil.
Sure.
I mean, they made it that way, but listen, we had systems. We had an educational system. We had a religious system. We had a political system. We had a cultural system. And there were people teaching these. All right? Go to the villages. They will tell you that the chiefs are custodian of the culture.
Sure. Sure.
There are people, I mean, the system was set up. So the power was there for teaching boys, young boys, how to become husband. I mean, when I say husband, everything that a man should do. And in our African setting, take it or leave it, the men, even to now, men feel that they bear the responsibility for carrying the home.
Right.
They are supposed, that's what it is.
Okay.
That's what it is. Even the West, they see it like that, but they still talk about, no, you know, the women is supposed to, yes,
Play this part.
women are free to do that, but the responsibility. So even you go to the Bible, that's what God says. So before Africans read the Bible, they already knew. All right. So this our society is so unique.
This book is so interesting. What may ask as to whether it's on sale or how can one get a copy of it?
Yes, we can share the contact on how to get it. Reverend Laura Pritchett will be a good contact.
Okay.
All right, from Providence Baptist Church, she will be able to order them for you.
Okay.
All right, the books are here. The books are here in the country. All right,
All right.
and she will be able to direct exactly where you can buy one of them. All right.
You want to show me one of them?
Yeah.
And there are
There's
What's the
another
other
one at is it in August for the Flag Day? There's another book here by the same Dr. Burroughs, Dr. C. Patrick Burroughs. It's called From Virginia Slave to African Statement. It's about Hillary Teach.
Okay.
All right, he is the writer of this book again, but this is about what Hillary Teach did, and we have understated Hillary Teach as far as Liberian history is concerned. And anyone who has this book will understand exactly who Teach was.
Sure.
All right, he was a compatriot of Lakiri, the founder of Providence Baptist Church.
Okay.
All right, so these two guys were always together, and they always had this going, Liberian history. I mean, read about these two guys, you got Liberian history.
Now, the symposium, will it just be free to the public or you be paying something to enter?
No, it's free.
Absolutely
Because
free.
the reason I'm asking, the flyers, okay, let's just see the flyers, one of them, because though I didn't go through it clearly, all right, so it is just free. You talk about leadership and all of those stuff. but this would be directly, supervised by the young people of this
By the
church.
young people of the church, yes.
The responsibility is just by the young people.
By the young people. They are organized, they are in the
So
forefront.
the church is funding this.
Yes, the church is funding all of this. All of this is on Providence Baptist Church, yeah.
And Saturday
Saturday, 9 a.m.
to
to
2:30.
2:30 p.m.
Isatta, let's look at the youthful setting of this of the church. How is it going? Most especially you, you in the choir, you sing, right? Very well.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah, brother
do.
answer
Um,
sing.
You will sing, I beg you. But I think you're part of the choir. And how are things going on in the church?
Things are the way it should be. I mean, the way it has been in Liberia with older people and young people. But
No
in my
discrimination.
church, yes, there's no discrimination.
Okay.
Everyone is involved.
Okay.
Like once you avail yourself to do the Lord's work, you are heartily welcome. And we even encourage more young people to be a part of church work
Like I'm part of
because
the church now.
okay. Because once you accept Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, and you say you are a part of fellowship, as the church is called, it's good that you use your gifts and talents to serve the Lord, because that's what He's given you. The purpose for which we're on earth is to serve the Lord.
Yeah.
And so He gives us special gifts and talents. Those are what He expects us to use to bring glory and honor to His name, and to even evangelize to people through what we do. So encourage people. So my church is one church that I cannot trade for anything,
I know, right?
because I mean everything that the church is about, youth is about the church.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So the youth are taking responsibilities.
of everything. Once you say you want to do this, I mean the church is there to uplift the idea and encourage you to go forward.
There are still vacant space that I can occupy.
So many, so many.
So many, so many.
There's
I mean,
always room for more.
we have two youth ministries in the church.
Oh,
Yeah. We have what we call the youth movement, and then we have the
College and Young Adult Ministry.
okay.
Already, both of them are youth ministries, and she's a part of the college and young adult ministry, but she came from the youth movement.
So,
alright? So that group from 12 years to 17 years,
that's the youth.
that's the youth movement.
Okay.
And then from 18 to 30, that's young adult ministry.
So why you need the college and young adult?
These are
Those
mostly
that are in universities.
mostly that's what we intend them to be. But when you pass 18, even if you're not in university,
Okay.
You
are still,
automatically become
a part of
someone.
that. You be sent to that particular ministry. I had the two ministry, but with hands off. I have somebody that coordinate the young one, and somebody that coordinate the. So it will not be the same thing I'm doing here, same thing I'm doing there, all that. So, but we have focus for each group. All right, we have focus for each group. So you see that it's so broad, it's so big that anybody can come and fit in.
Okay.
Anybody can come and fit in. Even no, I don't say it negatively, but even a Zoko can come and fit in.
Okay.
All right, I don't say it negatively. Seriously, somebody who has made some wrong decisions along the line and he wants to make a U-turn, there's room there.
Wow. And you said at the Centennial Pavilion, right?
Yes, that's where the 28th program will be. The end of this, no, not the symposium.
The end of this
The
quarter.
end of the quarter celebration.
Oh, the
All right, the
anniversary.
service here.
Okay.
That Thanksgiving service, which is a national service. All right, it will be. at
And where
Centennial
would the
Pavilion.
symposium be?
The symposium is at the church itself, Providence Baptist Church.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So the symposium will be held at the church on the 20th, then the 28th. That's like a week after. We'll be at the Centennial Pavilion. We'll have a morning service
Okay.
at church, but we'll have the national service at the Centennial Pavilion.
So how would the entrance be? It's just open.
It's just open.
You go and just enter.
You just go in, have a seat.
I mean, we'll have registration. We'll have the process of registration.
Yeah, but
We already have people that have signed in online,
Yeah.
because we have this online management or youth also is heading that and taking care of that. People have signed in, so we'll have the names of people that have signed in, and we'll have the names of people that are not signing but will be present. We'll be taking their names, their numbers, so that any inquiry you asked about how can one get the book. For me, I would just encourage one to attend the classes. The classes are open. That he have his time for classes. So once you have his contact,
That's
you
online.
can. Yes, it's online. It's fully online. It's an online class you don't want to miss in this life, because everything you see, you hear, and you feel, because once you're watching the videos, the man has videos that shows you where people came from, and the map is showing you as he talk about this place, the map is going there. Technology is advanced in this class. And I'm encouraging all of you to take advantage of this class, because it's one you don't want to miss. And as you want to learn your history, take up this class and encourage others to be a part of this class.
Well, I think we have to go. It has been a great time having you guys with me this morning on the KMTV Morning Show. But finally, that from this side.
Yeah, what I want to say finally here to our viewers, to those of you who are watching and listening, it is time that we know who we are, we learn what we are about as a people, so that we can make the necessary change and move Liberia to where we ought to move Liberia to. We can't continue the way we continue now. My pastor usually says, if you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got. We've been failing before. It's time for us to change. It's time for us to change, and then we will succeed. All right? The only way for changing is learning our history, learning it well, and after we learn our history, we can now see where our flaws are, where our problems are, and make the change and move forward. All are invited.
I wanted to ask a question, but it'd be political, so let's leave that. And you find out.
So finally, the only way we can move forward as a nation is through two things: humanity and history as Liberians. So we ought to change our mindset about things that we know right now, about the way we live. And that can only happen once we learn our history, where we've come from, why we are where we are, and where we want to go. So that's just it. You're encouraged to learn about Liberian history and to take up Carl Burroughs classes.
It has indeed been a great opportunity having you guys with me this morning. The Reverend Aaron, Lloyd, and Isatta have been our guests from the Providence Baptist Church. I want to say thanks so much. Thanks to our viewers for joining us. Until tomorrow, I'll be back here. Tomorrow going to be very hot. It's going to be a tough political scene here at the KMTV this morning presentation. We'll be having Madam Mandela Cooper, the former presidential candidate, and the founder of the Mandela Cooper Foundation as our guest. They're going to be very fascinating. Hope you can join us just in time on tomorrow, 10 to 11 o'clock. My name is Amos Thomas Momo. Until tomorrow, I'll be back. Have a wonderful rest of the Tuesday. From Liberia, bye-bye.